Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of The Socially Distant Lawyer. Today is going to be our intro discussion about fraud claims that have been happening in New York, and especially RICO claims that Greg and I are going to discuss further as we develop. But we just wanted to provide you with some brief information right now.
Right. So as a very brief background, there has been a lot going on in New York, specifically related to fraud claims brought by insurance companies against plaintiffs' attorneys, treatment providers, and certain third parties we call runners, right? And Mitch, why don't you just explain a little about what's happening?
So the multiple cases that have been filed right now in federal district court that are making their way through the courts have like you said, named insurance carriers have filed suit alleging that there's been fraudulent conduct by a number of firms and medical providers, as well as finders or runners that have brought fraudulent claims to attorneys who have then started the progress. So there's multiple claims that are making their way through the district court right now. We're seeing a lot of the same issues in both of these claims where accidents never happened. So they're staged, and there's video evidence that some accidents didn't happen. We see that a lot on construction sites, and some single vehicle auto accidents where we're able to obtain camera and video from locations in the area that show what actually happened, and that there wasn't other vehicles involved, or there wasn't an accident that actually happened. So we're seeing staged accidents. We're seeing excessive treatment, which we've seen for quite some time in all the cases that we've handled. We're seeing treatment doesn't need to be provided, but is being provided to drum up medical bills, to drum up medical billing, so that providers can get paid by insurance carriers, so that the claimants or plaintiffs can get paid for potential unnecessary treatment. But we're also seeing treatment that is allegedly occurring, but in fact has never occurred. So a type of surgeries, fusions, disectomies, that medical providers are on the defense side are looking at and examining the plaintiff and radiological film, diagnostics, and saying that, wait a minute, this didn't happen, that this surgery never occurred. So there's issues here that are coming to the forefront. They've been around for quite some time, but they're developing further. And you're also seeing people that are referring these accidents to law firms being involved in these suits. So there's a lot at play here. There's a lot of moving parts. Some of these lawsuits were just filed in the last couple of months, so we're just in the very, very beginning of discovery. What we have seen, though, is that some of these medical providers that are named in these RICO lawsuits have now been named in third-party litigation. So litigation involving the injuries that the plaintiff sustained, and they're being pleaded on fraud counts based on some of these RICO cases. So we're monitoring that to see whether the courts are allowing the cases to proceed. Some they have not against these providers, but that's something that we're monitoring. So a whole host of information that is coming to light that we're going to delve in more into a future episode of SDL and on podcast.
And we're also seeing that those plaintiffs' firms that have been named are filing motions to be relieved from counsel, right? Relieved as counsel. So we're monitoring, those transcripts. We're actually getting those transcripts for those arguments, and trying to keep up to date as to what's going on for those particular cases.
Okay. So there's a lot of information here. We're probably going to break it down into some multiple episodes on podcasts so that we can provide some more in-depth information other than these short clips. But we just wanted to educate our loyal listeners here and viewers on what's going on in New York, to stay tuned for information that we're going to come out with on a more recurring basis. So stay tuned, follow us on our social media channels, and we'll see you next time.